Coming up, we'll see how volunteers in Jordan are helping to provide medical assistance to Syrian refugee children. And in Taiwan, we'll review some tips on keeping warm and staying healthy during the cold winter months. Hello everyone, welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Duncan DeAeth and thank you for joining us. Since the Balkan countries have closed borders to everyone but Syrian refugees, 8,000 refugees from other countries are stuck in Serbia. During a recent aid distribution, volunteers from Europe learned that many Afghan and Pakistani refugees have been in limbo for over 3 months, unsure when they will be able to leave. Volunteers provided them with undergarments and are also planning a hot meal service soon.
This man's imperfect hands are the result of him escaping from the war at home. The candy in their mouth are treats volunteers gave them to help ease their suffering, even if just temporarily. In Serbia, there are near 8,000 refugees who are stuck waiting in the camp as the borders are closed. Upon hearing Tzu Chi Foundation is here to distribute clothing, they gather early outside the venue to wait. This man's voucher has been torn and retaped as he simply has been waiting too long to leave this country. Thank you. Most of the refugees who are here are from Afghanistan or Pakistan and have been waiting for clearance since autumn. Now that it's winter without a dryer, doing their laundry is impossible as clothes will never dry. Thankfully, volunteers are here to give them what they need. The refugees' gratitude has also comforted Tzu Chi volunteer You Yue-ying from Austria. Since her son's passing, she has cared for these refugees much like she would her son. Thank you. Besides the clothing distribution, volunteers plan to host a hot meal service at the Sid train station in hopes of giving them a good meal.
In Jordan, Tzu Chi volunteers have been providing medical assistance to Syrian refugees in Zaatari camp, as well as Ramta and Amman. Recently, a girl successfully underwent 2 surgeries thanks to Tzu Chi's help. Tzu Chi volunteers have helped 100 children at the Zaatari camp receive surgeries to treat hernia or imperforate anus. Their assistance has helped the refugees feel love and warmth in a foreign land. Here's more.
Bring their children in carts, they wrote. These people in the crowd want to express their deepest gratitude to Tzu Chi volunteers.
I want to thank Tzu Chi for helping my child undergo surgery.
I want to thank AMR for working with Tzu Chi to care for the refugees in Zaatari camp.
Nearly 80,000 Syrians are staying at Zaatari camp, which was established in July of 2012. Among them, 57.5% are under the age of 17, including 18.8% people who are under the age of 4. Children who are born in the refugee camp often worry their parents because there's a high percentage of infants born with hernia or imperforate anus. Back on March 16th of 2016, Tzu Chi volunteers in Jordan have once again come to Zaatari camp after distributing supplies there back in 2013. Back then, people waited outside this metal sheet office with hope and expectations. With the help of Syrian doctor Dr. Monat, the volunteers visited 56 infants under the age of 4 and found 40 of them were suffering from hernia. Among the 15 complicated cases, 2 female infants with imperforate anus had undergone the first-stage surgeries. Their treatment had to stop due to lack of medical subsidiary funding. Tzu Chi volunteers came to their assistance when they needed it the most. In 9 months, Tzu Chi Jordan chapter has helped 100 children undergo necessary surgeries. Meanwhile, more than 300 children in Zaatari camp are still waiting for a chance to undergo surgeries. Akila Hospital in Amman has been treating many Syrian refugees. The hospital has even set up a Syrian clinic on the 2nd floor, hoping that Syrian refugees can feel more at ease. Most of the cases that receive assistance from Tzu Chi are being treated here.
I don't care Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Jewish. I never care. I care that he is human and he is your representative. And he is very truthful. And he cares to bring the people in need and to do the operations. He knows that we have many expertise doctors, specialists, and with the least possible price so that we can do more cases with the same amount of money.
Hey, Mapsu, huh?
Besides the refugee camps, Tzu Chi volunteers also care for 79 Syrian families in Amman and Rentha. Amman then, Ratak Omar suffered left leg fracture because the doctor was interrupted by bombing while delivering her in Syria. When Tzu Chi volunteers learned of her situation, she was 3.5 and had undergone 6 surgeries.
6 previously. Yes. We do 2, 8.
第七八次手术，然后当时手术呢，我们请教我们新店实验的赵院长，赵院长请骨科给我们评估。
The Syrian doctor who worked with Tzu Chi then decided to help Ratak undergo bone grafting. He cut off 6 centimeter damaged bones and planted her hip bone there with bone screw, waiting for it to grow. The careful doctor even asked the parents to bring her back frequently for further checks during her recovery. After a year, Ratak, who's 5 years old now, loves to walk and climb the stairs as rehabilitation. Tzu Chi volunteers have even ordered orthopedic shoes to meet her needs.
She takes and hides her shoes under the pillow so she can wear them while sleeping. As parents, we wait till she falls asleep to take off her shoes.
For most people, wearing shoes and walking is something we take for granted. After helping Ratak, Dr. Manther hopes that Tzu Chi volunteers and he can join efforts and help more Syrian refugees, giving them hope as they pursue a better future.
A refugee named Rehana and her family fled Pakistan to escape persecution. However, after arriving in Thailand, their situation wasn't much better. Even with official refugee status, they are not permitted to work, which means the family of 8 must live off of savings. A year ago, Rehana's father broke his leg and needed medical help, which the family could not afford. Thankfully, a Tzu Chi Thailand chapter lent a hand. Thanks to that encounter, Rehana started volunteering at free clinics as a translator, which brought a new positive turn to Rehana's life.
Wearing a volunteer's vest, Rehana is translating at the free clinic today as a way to repay Tzu Chi's assistance given to her father when he broke his leg towards the end of last year. The family had spent all of their savings brought from home and didn't know where to turn to for help. But it was under the advice of Bangkok's UNHCR that they turned to Tzu Chi.
This Sunday, go see the doctor. You will feel better, okay? Okay, don't cry.
In Pakistan, there's the same problem for us, and here there is the same problem. We don't have freedom.
Due to their religious beliefs, the family was persecuted and forced to leave. However, upon their arrival in Thailand, the family's rights were restricted and they couldn't work. Thankfully, she met Tzu Chi and was able to open a new journey in life as a translator. As a preacher, she also enjoys spending time with children, and slowly her life became more active.
Get this chance that I work in children and I work in family, so everyone was very happy, and they were saying to me that we are happy that you are working, you are doing something.
The sad and lonely heart has finally found its resting spot.
We can see that in a family, people, they live together, they comfort to each other, they love to each other.
With no more fear in her heart, Rehana has found her path home.
A fire at the end of January left 242 people of a community in Klong Toa district of Bangkok, Thailand, without homes to return to. The blaze started when a home under remodeling caught on fire. Local residents are now staying at a shelter. Tzu Chi volunteers held an aid distribution to help the victims through the difficult time ahead.
The sky has been painted red as fire engulfed over 50 wooden homes. A home that was under construction caught fire in Rim Klong Wat Sapan of Klon Teo district in Bangkok, Thailand. The narrow roads in the community hindered the firefighters, thus 242 people were left without a roof over their heads.
All of our items have been burned up in the fire, and everyone needs dishes, seasoning, rice, and such daily necessities.
After a fire assessment by the volunteers, an aid distribution was scheduled where plastic tubs filled with kitchen items and rice were to be given.
Thank you for your generosity, as we're in a difficult situation, and we're glad to receive help from those who know us or even strangers.
Among the volunteers' ranks, someone has brought his grandson to the event.
These people are really sad. I have things to eat and things to use. From now on, I'm more grateful for my life.
At the scene of the fire, residents have come together to clean up the destruction. Residents salvage what they can to sell for recycling, as they plan to use that money as the community's rebuilding fund. After this disaster, this community isn't left with nothing to their name, as the love and care for one another is priceless.
In cold winter temperatures, people with pre-existing heart or lung conditions may be at risk of having problems flare up. In our next piece, we'll take a look at how people are keeping warm during these cold days, and we'll hear some advice about signs that you may be getting sick and how to avoid it. With temperatures dropping, the hot springs of Beito are seeing more and more visitors as people enjoy the warm waters to escape the cold. Besides the hot springs, people are also bundling up to stay warm as the temperature drops. People with cardiovascular problems or breathing problems are especially at risk with the change in weather.
The most common chest problems are asthma and bronchitis. When the temperatures are lowered, the muscles along the respiratory tract can shrink, and there may also be more harmful particles floating through the air, which can easily lead to allergic reactions.
Along with the cold temperatures and changes in air quality, the risk of asthma symptoms or chronic bronchitis also increases. Over the past 2 days of cold temperatures, doctors say the rate of patients coming in for chest and breathing problems has increased twofold.
If you discover your breathing is irregular, your chest feels heavy, or there's a lot of nasal sound accompanying your breathing, then pay attention because you may be getting sick. If so, there are effective medicines that can help if used properly.
When you go out, remember to dress warm, wear a mask and a scarf to keep your head warm, and try not to inhale cold air. If it is extremely cold, then avoid going out if you can. And if you do need to go out, try not to stay out too long. As the temperature drops, seniors are especially at risk of catching colds. In addition to dressing warm, it is also important to keep your muscles and joints warm with plenty of exercise. Now, we'll hear some tips on keeping warm in the current cold temperatures in Taiwan. With the temperatures dropping so low, you may see some elderly people out there bundled up from head to toe to keep warm. This is 74-year-old Mrs. Wong, wearing multiple layers and 2 pairs of pants. She is also sure to wrap her scarf up tight to keep her head and neck warm.
We will catch a cold, so I wrap everything from my neck down. It's the same when I sleep at night.
See if you can find a hat that covers your ears. For your hands and legs, consider wearing warmers. Cotton socks will keep your feet warm.
Many seniors may not be well prepared for colder weather and may not be able to sense the change quickly.
Their peripheral nerves start to degrade. Sometimes they don't feel anything other than pain, and their sense of temperature is definitely affected.
For the elderly, more than just dressing warm, doctors also recommend they do some light exercise in the morning to warm up their body.
Put your arm and neck like this, and then hold it for about 10 seconds to stretch your back and shoulders. For your legs and feet, if you can, try to hold them up at a 90-degree angle. During these exercises, we are pulling on the muscles, which will warm them up. This will increase your total body temperature.
Don't get out of bed if you feel dizzy during exercise. Doing some simple exercises every day to warm up your body can keep you healthy and limber in case of a fall, and it can even reduce the risk of a stroke. To encourage more young people to become caregivers, 3 years ago, the Hongdao Senior Citizens Welfare Fund took a cue from Scandinavian countries and began offering a monthly salary system of around $1,000 with flexible service time. Also in Pingdong County, the first caregiver labor cooperative was established 6 years ago, and the number of staff have grown thanks to higher salaries and other benefits, which have encouraged more people to enter the industry.
Born in 1994, CARE Secretary Wu Chaling brings energy and vitality whenever she visits Kaohsiung's Zoying Military Dependence Village.
At the beginning, he seemed like a stranger to me as he doesn't like to smile. But now, after quite a long time, he considers me like a granddaughter, which is a very happy thing.
After graduating from vocational school, Wu Chaoling didn't have to worry about income when she joined the Hongdao Foundation last year, as her pay is based upon a monthly salary.
Before, it felt more like part-time work, but now that I'm full-time here, I like to get along with elders, which is a happy thing.
Why change the monthly salary system? The first reason is to become more stable. Otherwise, the traditional home-based service pay actually cuts off their income when the people they are looking after go to the hospital. This is a serious issue.
Salary instability was due to the hospitalization of elders, leading caregivers to absorb this loss of salary, as they sometimes earn less than $650 a month, which is less than their expectations.
Today,
Liu Xiaomei is almost 70, is helping a couple with mobility issues prepare their own meals. She was happy to join Hongdao Senior Citizens Foundation, as it not only provides a different title than other groups, but also because one doesn't have to go it alone when providing care.
If I want to take a rest today, then some of my other colleagues will help out and I can relax. And if others need to take a rest, I can help out if I have time.
We changed the title to Care Secretary, which means that they are being involved in more lifestyle management.
Of the 225 members of this group, some 20% are vocational school graduates and under the age of 35. Following Typhoon Morakot, the Pingdong County First Caregiver Labor Cooperative was established. Director Ni Rongchun believes that the time-based pay system has its advantages in terms of flexibility, encouraging more people to enter this work.
The spirit of this co-op means we share the labor, and after we take our management expense, we allocate all of the profits to the individuals. Now there are many people simply waiting to join us.
The use of a cooperative to pay dividends has attracted lots of local caregivers, as each one is a shareholder and also their own boss. The elderly are also better cared for, and local people have more employment opportunities.
For this caregiver work, if you don't pay about $1,000 a month, then no one wants to do it. I told the government they need to pay between $5 to $6 per hour.
In addition to raising the hourly salary and socio and economic status, support to rural areas must also be improved. This means that real subsidies are needed to encourage more recruitment of human resources in order to solve the current staffing shortage when it comes to providing long-term care.
In Taiwan, Banqiao Tzu volunteers invited local residents to make vegetarian dumplings to promote vegetarianism. The participants not only learned tips for wrapping dumplings, but they also developed better relationships with one another. Let's join them there.
先把边边弄死。
抓起来，把边用起来。好，对。加下去。
Everyone has his own tips for making dumplings. Banqiao City volunteers organize a dumpling making activity in this community where they can exchange their tips for making dumplings. There is something special in the dumpling fillings.
It is vegetarian. There are cabbage, carrots, vegetarian ingredients, as well as green bean noodle. It's delicious and full of love.
We should take this opportunity to eat seasonal vegetables which are good for our health and contain more vitamins and fiber in the diet.
Promoting a vegetarian diet while educating everyone to cherish food, volunteers happily enjoy the meatless dumplings with local residents.
I made dumplings for the first time. I'm very happy. Though I'm not good at wrapping dumplings, I still feel happy to eat vegetarian food because it is good for our health.
Even though everyone wraps dumplings in different ways, we all wrap love and compassion inside the dumplings.
This place is much like their own kitchen as everyone talks happily while making dumplings, which helps to bring them close together.
Next, we'll visit some Lunar New Year events in Taipei. At one, Tzu volunteers used a puppet show and Taiwanese proverbs to entertain the audience. At another, a wife was finally able to get her husband to join Tzu after a decade of encouragement.
5 couples entered the venue with a dragon dance, opening this Lunar New Year activity in Taipei's Syrian area. Even though they are wearing helmets and surgical masks, their wives are still able to recognize them. One male volunteer is a policeman, and he joined Tzu due to his wife's encouragement.
This is like my job as a policeman, as it involves serving people. It's like what the master said, if you want to be a bodhisattva, you must go amongst the people.
Joining Tzu will allow both of us to walk together. I feel if a couple can do the same thing together, do the right thing together, we're the master's disciples. This is something to be proud of.
While they play a game involving stepping on squares, it reminds volunteers that even if their hands get twisted, they can still solve any problem together. In the Lunar New Year activity in Taipei's Da'an district, a puppet show and proverbs entertained the audience. This 3-hour event was organized well before the Lunar New Year.
I
consider myself a little sailor, and I bring happiness of Lunar New Year to all the volunteers.
I'm very happy and also touched to see so many old and young volunteers. People really spend a lot of time preparing many activities.
During the Lunar New Year activity, volunteers also prayed and wished all the best for Syrian refugees.
Tzu volunteers in Indonesia recently hosted an activity to ring in the new year, providing aid distribution to poor families in Jakarta and collecting bamboo coin banks from generous residents. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.